So that's what I'm looking to get some clarity or a way of navigating through across the ocean of transits and challenges and the experiences of life to see how we ride the waves. So this is a good quick review, enough to remind you of the steps we took, but I'm using them way faster than I would spend more time personally on each planet and thinking about it, and then do each planet and then see how they're bouncing across. So I'd reflect on it a little bit more for myself. I'm not doing it for this class. I'm getting the stuff prepared there. I'm just doing these classes cold, without preparing, without knowing what I'm going to say, so that you can see how I'm thinking and follow it through. And a standard is set for approaching this. Okay, so now what I want to do, we have a timeline. Pull up the timeline here. This is it. It's a little more extensive. Some people give you a little, here I got a little more extensive, Mercury and Gemini, like what's important, make a bio. And this is a quarter, this is a tenth of the size of what he gave me, because each thing was really elaborated, embellished, explained. And I just want to run through some of these things. I want to run through it in time and in sequence, but I want to see some of them as to fitting in the natal chart too. So it's worth seeing how the natal chart tracks these things to connect the experiences to the natal chart. And see, yes, that's confirmed. Okay, that's there. And it's clicking those off. Then you're really prepared to start seeing it in time. Why then? Why then? So he started a small business with high school friends, got a loan from the government, late high school years through college. But he had an inner conflict about becoming a priest and questioning his purpose in life. And he prayed to God if there was another way to grow spiritually other than the Catholic Church. So, okay, now you're starting to see the first things. You're seeing the Jupiter and his ascendant, Jupiter-Uranus conjunct. I identified the understanding. I could be a priest, I could be, and you can see the Venus in the ninth house thinking spiritually. I will identify spiritual things, but I don't think I can put up with the things that are wrong or the demands on me, or the rituals or the conservatism of the church, or dogma, or however he would see it. But he has the Uranus Jupiter, so he has a tendency to break away and be independent or have an independent outlook, which he would identify too strongly. So even in this first little note in his history, it was for when he was 69, that's 17, 18. So he was already questioning his life, and there was an inner conflict of being a priest or going for business. And even praying to God to find another way to grow spiritually other than the Catholic Church. That's really a relevant statement. It's just you look at it, you look at the chart, and just what we're talking about, we're seeing that outlook. He meets his wife, and his wife's into herbology, spiritual teachings, magic, white magic, astrology, and he gets exposed to all these new teachings. So you can see he meets a woman who's doing these things, Moon in Aries, the seventh house, but he's doing the things that are so interesting and all have teachings behind them. That excites his Jupiter-Uranus. That's kind of has a certain magical appeal. Shortly after he broke up for a while, and they got back together. Anyways, that goes on. So let's see, went to work for a friend in his construction business. Then he purchased a vehicle that had a major car accident. So what would draw in accidents? The Moon in Aries is impulsive. The Mars in Neptune, a little spacey or fanatical, might drive too fast. And the Pluto on the ascendant opposing the Moon in Aries, and the Moon in Aries is ruled by the Mars, which has the Neptune there. So there's a vulnerability to disruptions coming like that. So there's an accident that happened. They can sort of see, we don't know the situations or what happened, but we'll look at the timing of when it happens. But you can see there's a predisposition that could be one of the options of his intensity. Going on impulse and oops, sorry, Mars Neptune. So then he left working for the grocery store and started a topsoil company. Gets married in 97. So he's 1993, 94. So he's with his wife he's going to meet, then they split up for a year or so. Then he gets back. Then they get seeing each other. Then they decide to get married. They get married, and then next year they have a son. So 97, 98. And so getting married, having a kid, you see, it's, she had to decide to go. There would be some confrontation around this, but it's still his moon. He could relate to being related, being married, having to do things for the kids. Because the cancer, you can see that as a natural thing he would attract. Okay, the son is born, and a couple of years later, he opens a health food store with his wife. Well, that's interesting. You have the Gemini doing his own thing, the Gemini midheaven. You have the sun in Cancer, security, home, having a health food store. Wow, you can see how Cancer's like. You would think Cancer sun, 10th house, run a restaurant, have a business where you're nurturing or catering to people, and health food store fits right in that, and it's practical, so it's personal. That in a way that was a good. That seemed. How could you not say that was a good suit? That would fit well. There's new understandings of herbs, there's different things coming in, so that would have been a positive, exciting thing. Then they had their second child sometime after they opened the store, and the store went on for a while. But I think I don't have the date here, but I think the store ran for 4 or 5 years, but it didn't quite make enough money, and eventually they decided to close the store and end it. Okay, that changed the whole lifestyle, changed the way of relating on the kids about health. That was a big change. So we'll see what happens, but still, the strong concerns of what's needed for the family, what business to have, a personal business, working with his wife together to run the health. Wow, that fit to the chart. Okay, for it fit to his chart, we're not looking at hers. Now, so once they decided to close the store, and not because she had a healing business as well, she decided to start going to school part-time and then full-time. And she stayed in school from, I guess it was sometime in 2000 or 2001, 2000, somewhere in there, and stayed in school for till 2017. So that's like 15 years she was in school. So after they closed the store, she decided to go back to school. Well, I highlighted it because this is the wife made a decision, change, everything was set up in a way that would have worked nice for him. He just wasn't pulling enough money or whatever, so it changed. Then she decides to go back to school. Well, they got the kids. If he's going back to school, she's not pulling in the same income she used to be pulling in. Suddenly there's demands and conversations and needs from the wife end that he has to take care of Pluto. He wants to do it, he can take care of, okay, I'll go for it. And struggle, but even with the Mercury, the teaching, the learning, which he's interested in, he ends up paying for his wife's, carrying the family and everything so that his wife could get finished with school, finished with university. She's a very capable person. I know, this is a person I know as a client for a long time too. But that's a long statement. That's a big thing. But you can see his moon, that's moon, the need, demands, and his identification, and the need to fight for the study, fight for truth. It was an argument. Well, you need to get more education. That would make a difference. He could relate to that, and he adjusted along those lines. So, from '97 to 2009, he's been at the same place, financially rewarding, but conflicts with boss over authority. Right, tell him what it would do, what his boss was doing, wasn't doing the same way he thought it should be. So he started working in another company in 2009, and then his old boss, after a couple of years, took him to court because he's giving the business to the other place, and the court got thrown out. But it was something that took lawyers, problems, took a few years. Oh, that's the wrong thing there. Okay, but in the end, it drained all of his money, any excess that he had. So by 2011, his wife, this is halfway through his wife's education. She's still going to education. He's got the kids in school. It's like he's got a lot of challenges around money. Uh-oh. Look at his Venus, Neptune, Mars, Venus. Uh-oh, what do I got to do? You see the necessity of the Pluto ascendant. So he has that practical Earth. So then 2000, let's see, 2000, and just after that, when the court, just as the court case was being finished and he's draining money, he has a head collision with his new boss's brother on the business property. Nobody got hurt, but the cars got wrecked. Second accident, second impulse. Okay, so both times the accident was there, they didn't get hurt. If he was born an hour later and he had the Libra ascendant and that moon was in the 6th house, that wouldn't have been a minor accident. It would have been a much more severe accident. So it's funny, our timings and how we work. But wait, now I'm just looking at this to try and see that it's connecting to the chart, that we're with the right person. That, like, if it's not, then we got to struggle. How come it's not? How come I'm not seeing it? Then you got to work with it. You check to see if everything's correct, right? If things right, then you talk to the person sometimes and get a better idea of what's going on and confirm the time and things. Because you got to be able to connect to a chart and see that this person would attract these type of experiences. So then he was working, but he added a second part-time job at a big store, a retail store, and he was serving customers. It was something he enjoyed. It was a side thing, but he was advising people, and he enjoyed that. But by 2014, his boss, his job ended with the company, so it's a good thing he had the job at the store. He kept working at the retail store. Still not enough to carry everything. His wife's still going through university, kids are in school, a lot of demands. He started a new company in 2015, and he's there since then. And in 2015, he started feeling hip, groin, and leg pain. He still has it today, but not as strong. So the pain, the lingering pain, it could be the Neptune Mars tied in, trying to do things. It could be the Pluto on the ascendant, or hitting even the moon in Aries is tied into that potential thing. But having an injury or something that's affecting one's movement or causing a limp or something like that, that would be the Neptune. That could be the Neptune Mars. It's confusing. No one knows exactly what it is. January 26th, he gets a raise. Okay, but his owners gave him a raise, but they told him if he wants the raise, he had to leave the store and leave the part-time work. So he did. Okay, so in 2016, just after that, he started studying astrology himself. So his wife's in university, but he's studying some things on his own. Okay, so it's not, his wife's almost finished. In 2017, she graduates. 2016, the son starts going to university. So his wife and son, first son, are in university. So you see, Mars, Neptune, the 3rd house, 9th house, the value of education and higher learning. Jupiter in the 1st, there's a value of it. These are just circumstances around those things. Since September 2018, the second son goes to university. He's got his 2 kids are in university, wife are in university, different places. By 27, no, his wife graduates. Finally, there's no more drain going to university costs, and just the kids, and the kids are immediately going off to university. And then the next few things, he's talking about the kids in university. One quits the soccer. He was sort of into his involvement in soccer. 10 years he was involved in soccer, and he let go. So you can see the Uranus opposed to the moon in Aries doing activity with the kids and having to keep up with it. You see him, he's answering all the demands. But Neptune Mars is scrambling to keep up with everything. Now, September 18th to now, last 4 or 5 months, it calls himself an empty nester. The kids are gone. They got their place back to themselves. So that was going on. He was listening to A Course in Miracles in his truck, driving along and enjoying it. And somewhere along the line, why did I put that in?